Hey guys, what is up? You are not seeing double. We are in people. You guys, we have such a special episode of the Royalty Podcast today. It's just me. There's no Tiffany, there's no Big D, and the reason why we wanted to do that is because I have known this person longer than we've been able to speak English fluently. So, with that being said, we have the winner. Oh my God, that's so surreal for me to say. The winner
Weird.
of Big Brother season 27, my good friend Ashley Hollis. She has single-handedly brought back the significance and the importance of playing a social and a strategic game in an era where this game tends to be dominated by D1 athletes and men. So, hats off to you, Ashley. You have made history in that way. You're also the youngest winner that we currently have.
Am I
'Cause
really?
you were born in 99. We haven't had any winners born in the 2000s. So, you're currently the youngest winner. You've made history in that way too.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Oh, I gotta tell my parents that.
Ashley, welcome, welcome, welcome. I can't believe you're here. Like,
Girl, I'm like, what? This is
what?
crazy. I like remember I literally almost didn't do the show. Not necessarily because of you, just because of my job. Because I thought they were gonna offer me a leave. And then at the last minute they were like, yeah, no, we're not offering you like a leave. And so I freaked out and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't quit my amazing job, like that I'm getting paid well for, like, and went to law school for, like, for a show. Like, that's crazy. You could get kicked off week one, which
Oh,
almost was me. Almost was me. And yeah, and I'm so glad I did it though.
wait, I'm so glad you did it too. I'm so, so glad. Okay, let's just get into this because you and I went to a Mexican restaurant at this time last year with my cousin, Saran, in
Yes.
DC.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
You, do you remember what you said exactly a year ago?
No.
You were talking about Big Brother. Well, I think we were just talking about Big Brother. We were
Okay.
like reflecting on season 26, whatever. We were maybe talking about my season. I can't remember exactly what the conversation was, but you said something along the lines of, I could see myself going on that show and doing well.
Yes, I did. Okay, I remember this now.
Yes, this was like exactly a year ago.
Yeah.
And then cut to right before you left, you were like, so remember when I said that one thing? I think I'm actually leaving. I was like, I thought you were going to tell me you were going to be on Love Island, and I was going to be like, okay, so you have to go for Jeremiah.
Oh my gosh. Oh
I
my gosh, no. It's too much. The US version now is a little too raunchy for
Yeah,
me to
yeah.
have a career again. Like, granted, none of those people ever need to work again a day in their lives now, the way the show has blown up. But being a lawyer, like, I totally would have done Love Island, like, when it was on CBS, like, Selly
Mm,
season, like, Justine season. Like, it was so wholesome then.
mhm.
It's a little,
Yeah, I fear Mr. Hollis and Mrs. Hollis would not be down.
Mr. Hollis would choke. He would
I
choke.
think you would.
He would be like, I'm obsessed with Love Island. It's one of my favorite shows, and I love like Hoda and all the girls. So
Wait, did you get to watch the finale or no?
no, I haven't even. I literally have left off. I think I left off on Casa Amor.
Wait, so you know that Nick and Landria, they're
I know
together
now.
now.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
what do you think about that?
Oh, I'm obsessed. I
Okay.
can't believe it because I'm like, wait, what happened to Sierra? And
Yeah.
then in my lives, people were saying she got kicked off. I'm like, oh, I gotta watch this
Oh,
season
yes.
because what? But I'm loving Nick Olandra. I think Nick is so cute, and I think Olandra's literally fire. So
Yeah, I think they both elevate each other. I see it for them. I'm happy for them.
yeah,
Okay, so enough about Love Island because that's
yeah.
not.
I know we totally got off track.
This is just like two friends catching up. But okay, so you manifest this in September, October of last year.
Yeah,
Cut to you leaving
yeah,
around June,
yeah.
and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa,
It's
whoa.
happened so fast.
A bomb to drop on someone. And I really hope you know that I was just coming from a place of wanting to protect my friend.
You
And
were.
yeah, like,
Hannah's a mama bear, guys. Hannah's like literally the mama bear. She's like the kindest person to all of her friends. She's so caring. She goes over the top for literally everybody, and she's like literally the sweetest woman. So let me
thank
preface
you.
that by saying that.
Thank you, as are you. But I don't know if you have maybe seen some of your other castmates kind of be on the receiving end of the vitriol on social media, but I just know it can be very intense and difficult, and there's no way to know exactly how you're going to be edited and how fans are going to receive you. And while it could go super well for you, it just as easily could go super poorly. And when you told me, like, okay, I'm considering this, my instant thought was like, I just want to protect my friend and her family because
Yeah,
that's really difficult for a family member to kind of be subjected to that.
absolutely.
So I really hope you know that's kind of where I was coming from.
Absolutely.
Yes, but
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I came out and I was like, I remember we met with the producers and then they were like just debriefing us like the final three and they were like, me specifically when I had my one-on-one, they're like, so you're good, like you're definitely well received. She's like, but they're like, but you might have to show support to some of your cast members, and they like listed the cast members, and I was like, well, these are two people that I don't really care for.
it's me not even like I know Riley got quite a bit of backlash, but who else?
Vince.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
Actually, the way I thought his name was Victor until week 6.
It took me 5 weeks to know that his real name was Vincent.
Vincent, yeah.
I thought it was Vincenzo.
Actually, what the heck? Why would his name be Vincenzo?
I don't know. I'm telling you, I knew nothing about this man. Like, I remember when he won the first HOH, I was like, shit. Because I had not talked to him a single time. He was the only person in the house I had never talked to. Like, I'm telling you, I just looked at him and I just figured he wasn't going to be.
So you really said this is just an investment I don't need to be making. No.
Literally. And then he won, and because I was like, out of the 4 picks for the HOH, I was like,
Yeah.
this is perfect. The other two I was like close with immediately, like Adrian, Jimmy. I was like, cool. And I was like, and then the other guy, I didn't even know his name. I called him Mustache Man for like 3 days. I didn't know his name. And then he won, and I was like, ugh, this is
Okay,
really bad.
but thankfully, yeah, honestly, let's just get into it because there's so much to unpack with you. I obviously have not seen you in more than 100 something days. There's so much that's happened in your life that I have seen on live feeds, but like I haven't heard from your mouth directly. And the way you had me and your mom stressed all season, every morning I'd wake up, I'd be like, okay, Twitter says that Ashley's good. I think she's good. I would come back later in the okay, never mind, Ashley is not good. And then she'd be like, okay, say a prayer for Ashley. And I'd be like, on it. My roommates are also praying. I'm not even Christian, but like every single day. Or I would go on Twitter and be like, okay, Chad, I have a fight. I have a board exam tomorrow morning, but like, how are Rachel and Ashley doing? And then they would update me. And I would stay up every single Thursday to see if like you or Rachel would win HOH. And I had 4 consecutive board exams. I didn't care though. I was like, I need these girls to do well.
Also,
So
your hair looks amazing.
thank you. That's
I
yours.
got the balayage.
I did. I did. I did dye it.
I did
Yes.
a lot. Okay, it's giving Jasmine Cooks.
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
stop. Thank
Anyway,
you.
sorry. I'm sure I'm going ADD.
No, you're
Um,
fine.
yes. Wait,
Yes.
I missed the question. Wait.
Oh, wait. There really wasn't a question. I was freaking. I was just fangirling. I don't know. Okay. My question is, Ashley, what was your strategy going into the house? And this is a question that you've gotten so many times. I know this, so sorry to belabor this question.
Okay.
But how did that change once you saw what the twist would be, the introduction of the mastermind? You had the 17th house guest, and Vince, aka Vincenzo, aka Victor, someone you hadn't spoken to, was the HOH, but you guys sort of had this deal. So, what
Yeah.
was going through your mind that first week?
Definitely. So I came in following the exact strategy that I think some people clipped on my intro like interview type of thing, like the pre-season like BB interviews, which was Elle Woods. Like I definitely was like, I am going to dumb myself all of the way down because I remember obviously like I've watched a good amount of seasons. I think I started watching maybe season 15 or 16, somewhere around there. And I also though specifically remember watching your season, and I remember like I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Kylan's partner, his link. She
Yeah.
okay, Sarah Beth. She thought you were super smart, and she was clocking you, and so she wanted you out. And I just remember seeing season after season after season where it was like, if you seem very smart, they will want you out. And so I knew I was going to have to dumb myself all of the way down in order for people to not see me as a threat. I also knew coming in, clearly I'm not no D1 athlete, so I knew I probably wasn't gonna be that amazing at like the physical competition. So I knew I was gonna fully rely on my social game and like creating those relationships. I knew I was gonna be a manipulator, which that sounds really bad, but I knew I was going to have to try to like manipulate people to get my way.
Yeah.
Because I knew I didn't want to be the person who is the head of the snake. Like I didn't want to be seen as the outward person making all of the moves, because that person always goes home. As you look at Janelle and Kaser season, Kaser went home because he was the head of that group. He was the one outwardly making, the decisions and the opinions, and he was really, really smart. And you can't be too smart. So I knew coming in I was going to do that. I knew I was also going to be kind of annoying. I knew I was going to try to annoy some of the house guests a little bit, which I know that sounds terrible, but I was like, if you're too liked, like genuinely every season, the most liked person always goes home pretty early. So I knew, yes, I'm like bubbly. Hannah knows I'm like very bubbly in my real life, and like I like to have fun and I make friends really easily. But I knew I could not be that person in the house. I knew I was going to have to be a little bit annoying, like, but on the low key. So it'd be like, for instance, I would do stuff like I would pour the Brita, and I would not fill it up on purpose, hoping someone would notice. Like, I don't know if anyone ever did notice, but they did. Oh, yeah.
Yana was like, if I win HOH, whoever doesn't fill up the Brita is going home. And I was like, why are him and Big D actually playing the same game? Like, that was whoa.
No, I would do like little things. Like, I would like leave food, or like I would do little things to be just a little bit annoying but be likable in the upfront to enough people where it was like, okay, so now I have like a little mini target on my back, but not like a huge one. Granted, obviously that strategy kind of went out the window a little bit when I became the biggest target week 1, but I knew for me, I wanted to just stick to my strategy, because I knew I feel like I could talk my way out of anything. And I feel like I dug myself out of the hole week after week. And it really paid off that 1 week with Will on the block, because that was one of the main reasons in my pitch of why I should stay. Like, Will's just so likable. I'm not as likable. Like, people don't like me as much as they like Will. Like, I'm a little bit annoying. Like, I kind of relied on that later on in the game a lot in order to be able to stay. And then as far as like week 1, what I was thinking, when he won, I was like, oh shit, like this is not good. I don't have a connection with him. He's not my cup of tea, quite frankly. He's not someone in the real world I would gravitate towards in the nicest way possible.
Really?
So I was like, and then on top of that, we had a deal though. So I was like 50-50. I was like, hopefully he'll honor this deal, and I'm just going to keep reminding him that we all made this deal, and like maybe he'll honor it. But I knew the connection quite frankly, it wasn't there. And then when he put me up, I was like, just because what they didn't show, because I actually watched episode 2. I watched episodes 1, fast forwarded at least, and then 2, and then the finale. Those are the 3 that I've watched so far.
Okay.
They left out so much that happened.
Of course.
So much. Like, oh my gosh, they didn't show him basically swearing to God, like giving his word the night before at 12:30. Nominations were at like 10 a.m. At 12:30/1, he was literally like, I give you my word. Like, my word is everything to me in life and in this game. I swear I'm not putting you up. I have no reason to put you up. I know you didn't take a long shower. I don't care what anyone has to say. And then 10 a.m. puts me up. So that's why I was surprised, just because it was like, he didn't have to lie. Like, he could have easily just been like, you're a house target right now. It's week 1. I feel like I might have to put you up. I don't know if I'm gonna. Even that would have been better than basically swearing on your life that you're not gonna put someone up and then doing it. So I had no respect for him literally day 4 of the game, because that was when I went up.
Okay, so I have like a side question, because we didn't get feeds until that Sunday. So when were nominations? Because you guys moved in on a Tuesday.
Yes, nominations were Friday, so it was day 4.
Oh,
and then the veto was day 5. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys had a couple days of coexisting.
Yes.
And Showergate happened night 1, and so that was kind of just festering and festering until Friday. Okay, the show made it seem like this all happened over a span of 12 hours, but
oh no, it like festered and festered and festered like each day. Yeah, it was a really long time.
Well, a couple things. I just have to give you your props. Because, okay, a lot of people I think at the very beginning, once they made that connection that you and I have known each other, because it's not something like we talked about this beforehand. It's not something that we necessarily wanted to draw attention to. I think I was sort of the mindset of I want Ashley to have her own journey. I want Ashley to have her own game. I don't want her game to be tied to anyone else's, just out of respect for her. But then as the season went on, of course, I couldn't help but be like,
Of
okay, so how
course.
are we doing?
I know,
Um,
of course.
but I did not coach you. Like Ashley is just that good, guys. She really is that good. Yes, she knows me. Other house guests may have their own connections to a previous alum. I don't know. I can't speak on that, but like you were not coached by anyone. Like you
No.
came up with your strategy on your own. I had nothing to do with your game. So I have to give you your props in that.
I do wish I did consult Hannah a little bit more for advice, though. I remember week one being like, damn, I wish I contacted Hannah more.
No, I feel like
Oh, there was just so much that happened week one that I was like, oh boy, how do I get myself out of this? I don't know.
but you didn't need me at all. Because you played a phenomenal game. You did not need my advice whatsoever. Because as you said, you can talk yourself out of anything. You're an attorney. This is what you do.
Yeah.
But I think you being able to go in there and swallow your pride and swallow your ego and actively dumb yourself down from week to week, which ended up paying off and got you to the end, that is something not many people, in fact, I don't think anyone is really capable of doing that because people don't realize. I mean, I think in hindsight, people realize how smart you are. But at the very beginning, when you weren't getting that much screen time and you also weren't doing cam talks, I think the world just thought like, okay, that's Ashley.
Yeah.
But I had to be like, no, guys, she's brilliant. Let her cook. And I didn't say that, but I was just thinking like, this is
Yeah.
very intentional
For
on.
sure. Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy because I remember like honestly I would forget. I forgot I don't know if America knows this or not, but I've never watched live feeds ever. And so I didn't really know how it even worked. And so I had no idea that the lives are on. Like seeing the memes, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know the lives are. I thought they were only on when it's multiple people in the room. I had no idea that they just are always, that they're just on. And so that cam talk literally genuinely was me rant because I couldn't rant to anybody else about it because nobody else like really knew, you know what I'm saying, what I was doing. And I don't remember who the conversation was, but that was just out of genuine frustration. I think it might have been with Keanu or somebody. But I walked out and I was like, this is getting really hard, like to act dumb. Like it was actually getting painful because it'd be
Yeah.
like people like Keanu talking to me crazy,
Yeah.
Nikki, love Morgan, but even Morgan, like I had there's some very dominant personalities in our cast.
Yes.
And there was a lot of people who definitely thought they could control me and like boss me around. And
Yeah.
it got very difficult to hold my
Sure.
tongue as people saw that scene in the Mickey HOH room. Like that one week. I just couldn't take it anymore. I mean, it was just so annoying having people trying to tell me like
Mhm.
what's going on, things that I know are not true. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm well aware of what's going on. But you have to keep it in because that's what got me to the end. So
No, but like I think a lot of players have not been able to successfully do that because you're around these people 24/7 and so of course things start slipping, but with you really like someone give her the Oscar. Someone give her the Emmy because again like you had your end goal in mind and you just never wavered from that. So that to me, just the level of intentionality with your game was so impressive. Even if I didn't know you, I'd be like, what, how in the world is she doing this? No, seriously, so
no, it's only shown on the live feeds. And like my edit is crazy, but
Yeah.
Aaron, like he's gonna send me. He made a whole edit of like what my edit should have been, and he showed
Yeah.
me when I interviewed with him yesterday.
Wait.
Yes, it was crazy. Like I can't wait till people see like the edit he made and like him sending me the videos because I will be posting it because I'm like, this is what my edit I thought I was gonna get. And, like,
Well, because I think the show, for like as long as I can remember at least. Wait a second, is that my computer?
what is it
Stop.
doing?
That is my computer. The humming.
Oh yeah, it is.
Like
Yeah,
buzzing. Listen, Big D's gonna be.
that's okay.
I'll just talk louder. But I think in the history of the show, typically younger women are never really given the grace
Yeah.
of like the strategist or the social player. We kind of become like a background in someone else's story. And I'm gonna loop myself in with that too, seeing as though I was the youngest woman on my cast. And I think, especially with young women of color, young black women, it's almost like they don't quite know how to edit us if we
Yeah.
don't fit a certain stereotype.
For sure.
But again, like you're a 25-year-old attorney. You also have a background in pageantry. You also have a background in running and dancing, and she can sing like nobody's business. So you're very versatile, and I almost felt like they didn't know what to do with that.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like they didn't know what to do now that I've seen a few of the episodes already. Granted, I started seeing it the first time I went live. All the comments were basically saying that. Like it was like, the live feeders know what's good. Like, and they were talking about my edit.
Hmm.
I didn't know just how much they were meaning by that until I watched episodes 1 and 2, and I was like, oh, whoa, like this is a total different
Hmm.
edit of me. But also when I went live with Kelsey like 2 days ago, she said that production really regrets. She said this on live, so I can repeat this. But she basically said production really regrets like what they did with my edit, and if they could go back, like they would change it. So I'm like, okay, I'll take that for what it's worth, but it's too late now.
What, $750,000?
I
So,
think it's fine.
like,
I don't really care that much. Yeah, I really don't. I'm like, I'll be laughing all the way to the bank. I don't
yep,
care.
period. Okay, so we just kind of talked about week one, Showergate. You win that veto. Vince is super upset. That was like the beginning of Vince's tears. Oh
Yes.
God.
The start
How often did he cry?
all the
Like,
time.
okay, were you guys aware of how much he cried in the house?
Yes. Everybody made fun of it. Yes.
Okay, was he in on the joke?
No.
Okay,
Not until the end. Not until the 3-person dinner,
yeah.
the
Okay,
missing thing. Then he was like, oh, because they made a joke about it. Yeah.
yeah. Does he cry that much in his normal life? I just have
I
so.
don't know. I don't know Vincenzo. Like, I don't know who that man is. I can tell you. I don't even know if we had many conversations. I don't think did we ever? We maybe had 3 conversations or 4 the whole season one-on-one. Like, we never talked one-on-one ever.
No way. Okay, even though you guys were in this tight alliance. Okay, let's
We'd
just.
always be with Morgan. We'd always be with Morgan. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, fair, fair, fair. So let's keep going because Rachel obviously walks in.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
She turned into one of your closest allies, but something I love that you did is you didn't attach yourself to her right away.
Yes.
Amy, instead, was the one who attached herself to Rachel right away and ended up getting clipped. They couldn't take out the head honcho, so they took out, her
Yeah.
number one. That was Amy.
Yeah.
I feel like I already know what your answer is going to be, but I'm assuming
Okay.
you knew let me get close enough, but not too close.
Exactly.
Is that kind of how you navigated your relationship with Rachel?
Absolutely, because I really did like Rachel as a person, but I knew that she was a big target. I mean, literally day one when she walked in, Jimmy was like, so we're going to get her out, and then she was a have-not and couldn't be touched, and then he's like, so we'll get her out next week. So I always knew that they were going to be coming for Rachel early on, and so I knew I could be close, get close enough where we could be friends, we could have a great relationship, and she could be an ally of mine because it's Rachel Riley, hello, like who wouldn't want to work with her? But at the same time, I already saw what was happening to Amy. Like this happened day one with Amy. People were noticing their connection day one, and people were not liking that, and so they weren't liking Amy. And this was before Amy and I actually got super, super close. And so I just remember thinking, well, for the next few weeks, I gotta keep it, at arm's length with Rachel, just because I was already a target night one. And so I did not want to make myself an even bigger target and attach myself to a bigger target than me. So, yeah.
Okay. See, I've had a feeling you had thought through this before.
Yes, yes.
That goes along with the intentionality behind your game. And something that I think a lot of people fail to recognize about the game of Big Brother is it is very much a game of balance. As you said, you have to be likable, but you can't be too likable. You have to be smart enough to the point where they feel like you're contributing something and there's something happening up here, but you can't be too smart, otherwise you're looked at as a target. You understood that balancing act beautifully, and even though I would not say that every winner has the flashiest game of the season. In fact, I can't think of a single winner who
Right.
had the flashiest game, who maybe played the most boldly, because those types of players get taken out before the end. But every winner, the one thing that you guys have in common is you guys are able to juggle that balancing game better than the 15, 16 other people in the house. So I just wanted to kind of draw attention to that and highlight, like, you guys actually went in there with a mission and she
Yeah.
stuck to that mission, and
Yes.
it was so cool to just watch materialize and actualize. Okay, so we talked about kind of how you approached Rachel.
Yes.
Can we fast forward
Yeah.
to week 3? Because week 2, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't super eventful for you, other
No.
than the fact that
It
you,
was when Amy went home, and then okay, so week 3 was Lauren's HOH.
yes, okay, so Lauren has 3 nominees on the block.
Yes.
The veto ends up getting 1. It's going to be used, and it's essentially between you and Adrian as the replacement nominee.
Yes.
I remember me and your mom were stressed, very
So
stressed.
was I.
Yeah, but your allies went to bat for you.
Yes.
So, can you talk about kind of how you went from being the house target just 2 weeks ago, being at the bottom of the totem pole, to
Yes.
all of a sudden having all of these people kind of strong arm Lauren into keeping you off the block?
Yes. So that goes into some of the work I put in week 2. So as soon as I won the power of veto, I got to work. I was like, I need to find openings and whatever cracks there are in the relationships that have already formed, because I'm already a beat behind, because nobody wanted to really work with me, obviously, while I was on the block, which, I mean, I was only on the block for a day. But mind you, I was a target for the 3 days before I even hit the block. I did win the veto, so literally the next day I was fine. But day 5 is when my whole game started to change, because more people wanted to talk to me. They wanted to work with me, because now they know for sure I'm going to be here next week. And I knew that people were also thinking she might be a comp beast, which LOL was not. But I remember people were really thinking that, because I won
Yeah.
the first veto and nobody thought I was going to win that veto.
Mm-hmm.
Just based off the way I look, the way I speak, everybody thought Zay was going to win. Whatever veto it was, they thought Zay was going to win it. Just because of his physique, his physicality, and also he's really good at chess. And so, which is funny because that's how he also became, get him out, he's so good at chess.
Really?
Really funny strategy. His body, his physique, and then that he was good at chess. They were like,
Yeah.
oh, he's intelligent, but he's also,
Mm-hmm.
a physical threat.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, after day 5, a lot of people were talking to me. Morgan and Mickey were 2 people who definitely I felt wanted to work with me pretty early on. Especially like Mickey is the one who initiated it day 2, even with all the drama, because obviously she didn't know that the drama was going to blow up and be as big as it was, because it started off as something little and then it just festered because there were so many days to just, there's nothing to talk about, so everybody was talking about it. And so I knew that those were the 2 I could attach myself to and fast. And then I also knew Jimmy was someone, we clicked really, really fast, which is why he picked me for the HOH thing, even though I didn't want to be picked, which I told him, but everybody told him. So he picked the people he felt the best with. And although like I knew Jimmy was kind of behind me being on the block, and I didn't trust Jimmy, actually, which that's a whole nother story. That's for another time, because I know this is only an hour. But I didn't trust Jimmy, but I still felt, okay, if I can work him, he was someone who really liked me in the beginning. Maybe now that the Showergate incident is over, he'll want to work with me. So I really focused my sights on Jimmy, Mickey, and Morgan, while also having like Rachel and Amy as like my 2 allies. Obviously, Amy left. But as Amy was potentially leaving, I really honed in on Mickey and Morgan and like making them my number 1, number 2. And I also, me and Rachel just naturally just vibed. I mean, we have a lot in common. So that relationship started to get closer and closer and closer as well. And so then I had those 4. And so by the time we entered week 3, I was like solidified, because everybody thought Amy was my number 1, which she was my number 1. But her leaving made people be like, this is amazing. She doesn't really have anyone. I can be her number 1. And so Jimmy, Morgan, and Mickey all were kind of fighting to like be the closest to me.
Yeah, like
It worked really, really well. And I attached myself, and I also like really honed in on like, now I have nobody, like woe is me, like, my number 1 is gone, I need a new person. And so yeah, and so I had them fighting to keep me off the block, because they all felt like I could be an asset to them, especially now with Amy leaving, not knowing that me and Rachel were getting, by the end of week 2, me and Rachel were very close, and we had the alliance called the Girls. And yeah, so that was just really focusing on seeing the openings and attaching myself to people, building those relationships. By week 3, I also had Will. And I can't remember. I think me and Ava were starting to get closer, but then after, when was the Jimmy vote? Week 4 is when me and Ava didn't really have a relationship anymore. But
Oh,
I think at week 3, me and Ava also kind of had something going on.
yeah.
So I had all of them, and I just feel like it was just nurturing those relationships before anything were to happen, and seeing those openings and like attaching myself to those openings is what really helped.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Because Big Brother, at the end of the day, it's an ecosystem. Everyone is meant to kind of fill their own niche. And so you have to be flexible and you also have to go where there are cracks. You don't try to insert yourself in a structure that is already very formidable. And I was going to say, oh my gosh, my laptop, 1 second.
Okay.
And we're back. I was going to say, I think one of the first turning point of your game, with the exception of you winning the first power veto, of course, was actually Amy leaving.
Yeah.
And as a viewer, as your friend, I was sad to see her go because I could sense how much she meant to you. And so I was sad for you.
Yeah.
But you know how sometimes when like two people are in a showmance and the guy leaves and all of a sudden a girl is just able to thrive in the game because
Yeah.
she's now seen as this like lone wolf and so no one's looking at her anymore as a target.
Yeah.
I felt like that happened with
Absolutely.
you as soon as Amy left. And I think when Amy was still there, people were kind of looking at you, Rachel, and Amy as this like
That's
three-headed
true.
hyena.
Yep.
And trios are very dangerous because, hello, that's 3 votes. That's three
Yep.
people who are voting the same way and will keep each other off the block. So
Yes.
I sincerely felt like Amy leaving, as much as I hate to say
It
that.
was great for my game. No, I told her that at that cast party. I was like, I hate that you left, but it was so good for my game.
Yes.
Just because I feel like Mickey and Morgan were having hesitance with working with me at the beginning of week 2, especially because of my attachment to Amy and Rachel. And they wanted to be the ones to control me, which nobody was going to control me. But I made people feel like that. And I was just had to, you know, get rid of my ego and let people think that. And it was really, really hard. But I knew that they wanted to control me or feel that they could control me. And they knew that they couldn't with Amy and Rachel in the picture. And so as I saw the Amy's demise, I was like, love Amy, but she really wasn't strong at competitions. Like, you know, and so I was like, the likelihood of her winning the blockbuster is slim. And she's probably going home next to either of these people, Will or Adrian. And at the time, me and Will were really close. And so I was like, you know, once it got to like I'm trying to think what week she went, whatever, like 4 days into that week, you know, we're approaching eviction. I started working overtime because I was like, I can see that she is probably not going to be here and it'll be too late to start after she leaves because the HOH is crowned that night and then nominations are the next day. So I would really use that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of every single week to be building connections. So that way by the time I got to Thursday, whoever's HOH, I'm going to be like okay with them, hopefully. And I also remember that week, maybe the end of that week, there started to be, you know, grumblings of trying to start something. And it was like Zach, Vince, Jimmy was trying to start this. Oh, this was Jimmy's HOH week too. Jimmy was mentioning an alliance with me, him, Will, Morgan, Mickey, and Vinny, something like that. And so obviously I had to pretend that I wanted to work with Vinny, and I definitely put in the work with Morgan to try to pretend that I wanted to work with Vinny. And I feel like that's also something that helped me because I was able to kind of manipulate Vinny that week, even though he wanted me up. By the time I had a conversation with him and I tried to flip it and be like, so basically everyone around the house is saying that you have control over the HOH Lauren. Like this week, she's going to do what you say. So if I don't go up, I know it's because of you. And I will owe you, you know, my whole game. You're surrounded by very strong players. I'm probably one of the weaker ones in the fake alliance or whatever that was like starting. You have to start thinking about who would you want to be, you know, in this game with long term. Do you really want to be next to the Morgans and the Zachs long term? Or would you rather keep a player around like me? And I remember Taryn was showing me, after that conversation, he went straight to Morgan, which they don't show any of this in the show, which is so terrible. But he went straight to Morgan and basically repeated the exact same language, but tried to make it seem like it was his own. It was basically like, if Ashley goes up, it's going to be seen as it's my move, and like, da-da-da-da, this is so bad for my game. Everyone's going to be onto me, and doing this whole thing. And then he had a conversation with Lauren where he basically backtracked. He didn't say that he didn't want me to go up because obviously he wanted me to go up. But then when she asked, should Ashley go up, I guess he was just like, you know, I see pros and cons for both. Adrian, he started being way more neutral, I guess, after that, which I do feel like helped me. Now, if he was smart, he should have just been like, put up Ashley, because Lauren would have done it. If he just straight up was like saying that. But I think I scared him a little bit because he was like, oh, people are going to see this as his move. Obviously, Morgan didn't want me to go on the block. So I feel like there was a variety of things working together, like
Yeah.
the block. And then also my conversation with Lauren, where I had to shed some fake tears and make her feel
Yeah.
really bad.
Oscar. No, because I think you have to understand the types of people you're playing with, and you really have to cater to their language and their communication style. So Lauren is someone you know who's a little timid, and she's easily swayed by people's emotions and their feelings, and so you have to cater to that. Vince is someone who understands the game well, and I think by you approaching him from a logical standpoint, correct me if I'm wrong at any point, but this is just what I like observed in life.
Yeah.
He understands that in this power structure, if it were to implode, and it most likely will implode because the only alliance that has ever made it to the end completely intact is ours.
Yeah, that's it.
So, like, it most likely will implode, and at some point, I am going to need to collect people who are on the periphery.
Yes.
And that's something that I think any good player realizes, and you, in your pitch, kind of highlighted that. And so I think that made him go, wait a second, she's right. She's right.
Definitely.
So I think all of it, plus like people were really going to bat for you because of the work that you would put in from Monday through Wednesday. And I would say that you and Morgan did, in my opinion, the best job at that specifically. Like really using the week as an opportunity to build into the next week. Wait, my laptop. Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
Oh, man.
Okay, yes. No,
Minute.
yes, I am. I just moved to Virginia.
Oh my god, you were telling me about that. Okay, yeah, we need to talk about this.
I know, I know, I know. I have a feeling that I'll be seeing you soon, soon enough.
Yes, yes.
Okay. But back to your game. Yeah, I just think you did a really good job of knowing how to speak to people and how to kind of switch up your style based on how they would receive it. And then we also have to just talk about your reads in general. Ashley, how are your reads as good as they were?
I can't believe it. Like coming out the house, seeing that, and seeing how right I was about like 90%
Everything.
It was Zach was the person it took me a longer time to get a read. I didn't start figuring him out until probably week 4. So that was the one person that it genuinely just took me long. Oh, and Ava. I didn't get a read on Ava until probably week 4 or 5 as well. So those are the two people I kind of like just missed, I guess. But everybody else, I can't believe I was 100% right. I literally was like watching all the TikToks. I'm like, dang, I feel like it's just like one, being a lawyer, but two, just my real life personality. I've always been really, really good my
Yeah.
entire life at reading people, picking up on vibes, and like being too real, probably. I mean, because I would read people and be like, I don't like them. They're not. Something's not right. You know, like something's not right here.
I'm laughing because like that is just you, and you will say it to their face. Ashley, wait. Give this person a chance.
Literally. And I feel like growing up though, I got better at like keeping things to myself. But when I was younger, guys, I could not. I literally would just read people for who they were.
Yeah.
And just, like boom to your face. But I obviously, as I matured,
Yeah.
not saying things. And so
Oh my
there
God.
was a lot of times in the house. Sometimes I would say things, but on purpose. Okay, because
Yeah.
I feel like that was what I was explaining to Taryn the other day. Because he was like, in the beginning of the game, there was times where he was like, my reads are right, but he wasn't sure what I was doing because I would go and like say it. But I was like, it was on purpose. It was strategy. And like a time I will give as a specific example that was strategy that people thought I was being messy, and I was, but I didn't care. It was on purpose. Was like the Morgan, Vinny, Zach trio thing. I did not care what I had to do. I was on a mission to break them up. I was on a mission because people were like, oh, I don't get what she's doing because she's talking to Zach about Morgan or whatever. It was on purpose, okay? I was trying to split that group up as much as I could. And so, yes, it was messy, but at that point, people have to understand, I was already a target. It didn't matter. If those three stuck together like glue and I couldn't infiltrate that group, I would not have made it far. Like, that's just the facts because they were kind of running I don't want to say they were running the game because they weren't, but people saw them as like a very strong trio. And so they had a lot of power in the first 3 weeks of the game, especially. Obviously, that went downhill after week 4, but they had a very strong impact on the game those first few weeks. And so I did not care that I was messy, and I didn't care if it would get back to anyone. I really didn't, because I was like, I am not going to make it far because these 3 will just power through the whole game. They started collecting Lauren. I peeped that they were collecting Mickey. I was like, absolutely not. They cannot collect Mickey because I need Mickey on my side. So I was willing to plant whatever seeds I have to, spill whatever information to break them up. And so people are like, I don't understand what she's doing. Zach is close with Morgan. I didn't care. I wanted to break them up. And it worked. It did work eventually. I, was able to flip Mickey week 4 because I knew that she was mad at me for, the things I said about Jimmy, which I didn't care because I wanted Jimmy to stay because Jimmy was good for my game. Again, like, people have to realize my back was kind of against the wall the first few weeks, being the target day 1. Like, that's hard to shake off. You got to put in some work before someone else becomes a bigger target. And luckily, there were the Keanus and the Kellys, etc. But I still was a target at the end of the day. If there's 4 nominees, like, people have to understand this wasn't a 2-nominee season. Like,
I know.
I could have been the replacement multiple times those first 2 weeks, and almost was.
Yeah. You almost become this like pariah in the game when you're a target, when you're on the block. And I think something that we talked about was that first impressions are everything. And your first impression, because of Showergate, was a little rough. And so you had to work that much harder to shake that from you. And you did so in a lot of ways. And that's so interesting hearing your perspective on Morgan, Vinny, and Zach. That's kind of fascinating that you sort of figured like either I die trying to break them up or I'm just going to be taken out of this game anyway. So why not, at least try? Why not be an active player? So I appreciate that response because that's something that, at least for me, wasn't clear on feed since we didn't get a whole lot of cam talks from you.
Yeah, I know. I forgot about the live feed things.
That's okay. That's okay.
Later. But yeah, I remember week 4, Mickey was mad at me for the whole Jimmy thing because I was kind of like trying to, stir some shit up, trying to get Jimmy to stay. But what was my saving grace by week 4 was that I just decided, I feel like I was really good, which I didn't know that at the time, but I felt like I had really good reads. Even when I was in the house, I felt like this is what's happening. I think this is what's happening, but I never wanted to spill information that I didn't know, that was for certain. And so I remember week 3 watching the vote happen during that 2-minute break where you have time to like plead for your life or whatever before the vote to evict. And I remember seeing Vinny, Zach, and Keanu all huddling up, and I'm like, what is there to talk about? We already said we're keeping Will. What is the issue? Why are we discussing Adrian versus Will? I peeped that. And then Ava was sitting right next to me, and I peeped Zach looking at her before she got up to vote. And then Ava proceeds to ask me, are we still keeping Will? I was like, yes, nothing has changed. We're still keeping Will. So from that situation, I was 99.9% sure Vinny and Zach were trying to flip the vote and Adrian to stay, which I obviously found out was true. But I was like, how do I get to find out that this is a fact? Because I don't want to start sharing this around the house and I don't know for sure if it's true. So I went to Ava and I was like, listen, I'm just going to use reverse psychology on her because if she thinks I already know, she'll just admit to it. And so I come up to her and I said, girl, I cannot believe Zach and Vince tried to flip you in the vote. And she goes, I know, da-da-da-da, and starts spilling everything. And I was like, ooh. And this is when Ava started hating me because she realized what I did after, I guess, when she started sitting.
Drama.
Yeah, she realized what I did to get it. But I remember thinking when my back was against the wall against Mickey, I need to turn her against Zach, Vince, and Morgan because I see that this group is starting to form and they're starting to create an alliance. And they're starting to pull her in. And I needed Mickey as a number because if I don't have Mickey as a number and she goes with them, now they have 5. Lauren, Mickey, Zach, Vinny, Morgan. That is extremely strong. And so I remember I told the information to Mickey and I was like, yeah, Ava, don't trust Zach. You can't trust him. He's not with you. He tried to flip the vote. Da-da-da-da. And I remember she asked, who did I hear it from? I threw Ava under the bus. And that was when some people were like, I guess in live feeds were like, I don't understand her game. She's messy. What people don't realize, that next week, the only reason I didn't end up on the block was because of Mickey. And Mickey, had I not shared that information, she would not have trusted me. She would have not wanted to necessarily work with me. She would have stuck with Zach, Vince, etc. And she was integral on getting Zach up on that block on Ava's age.
Yes.
So it's like, she was Team Zach before I told her that information. It wasn't until that information that made her be like, oh, maybe I can't trust Zach. So people are like, oh, she's messy. It's like, y'all got to realize when you're in the house and you're a target, you have nothing to lose. Like,
And I mean, so what if you're a little messy?
yeah.
Hello, we're making a TV show.
Right, exactly. But yeah, that's to all the people being like, I didn't understand why she told Mickey that about Ava. Ava and her are close. Guys, that's what created week 5, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so with that being said, Mickey, and this is something that you clocked while you were in the house, Mickey was in one of the best spots, and by her sending home Jimmy, that single-handedly destroyed her game.
Mhm.
And at one moment, or I guess at that moment in the season, I was like, ooh, this is not good for Rachel. This is not good for Ashley. They're losing someone who would never put them up on the block. So that had me a little freaked out, but I think the reason why you guys were able to pivot was because the other side, aka like Morgan, Zach,
Yeah.
Vinny, all of them, Lauren, they lost Zach. So let's get into that because Ava was strongly considering putting you up. And as you said, Mickey was very, and even Will to some extent, they were integral in getting Zach up on the block as that third nominee instead of you. At what point did you figure out that you were a possibility for Ava? It wasn't until weeks later, right?
Weeks later. Like, it wasn't until, honestly, when Mickey told me it in the shower, I actually didn't believe her. It wasn't until I brought it up to Will and I saw his facial reactions that I knew that it was true. Because, love you, Will, you are a terrible actor, homie. I mean, it was like his mouth was saying no, but his face was saying yes. Like, it was saying, yes, this happened, because he was literally like, oh, and then runs out of the room. So I was supposed to be showering, and this is why I was late to that meeting. But I instantly was like, something's not right. Why is he running out of the room? So I went to go see where he was. And I saw that he had just left a room with Ava. And that was how I knew. I pretended like I was getting something from the room to like bring up to the shower. Peeped that he had like went to have not or something with Ava and was walking out of there, and went back upstairs, and I was like, and he didn't know that I even came downstairs. So he came back up after, and we talked, and he was like, no, my gosh, no, Ava would never, Mickey, you know, Mickey's just turned up. I'm like, I could see it on his face that he was like nervous. He was like, oh shit. So that was when I knew, but that wasn't until 2 weeks later or something. Yeah, it was far after. Oh no, that was the week I was on the block. It was week 8. So
Yeah.
3 weeks later. I had no idea. I did not clock Ava at all.
Mm.
That was one of my bad like reads in the first half, but I also think it wasn't because I was paying attention to her. Like,
Yeah.
love Ava, but she wasn't like a big, you know, a player in the game.
Yeah.
Wasn't someone I felt like had influences. She was really just a number. She wasn't like a Morgan or a Mickey or like a Jimmy.
Yeah.
So I honestly think I didn't clock her because I really wasn't. She
You
slept
weren't paying
like
attention.
6 hours a day in the daytime. So.
Okay, wait, that's so interesting because again, like I watched these people all summer. We're all alum now, but like you lived with these people, and so now I feel like I can get the inside scoop through you. But like, wait, this is just so weird to. And then you're like, oh yeah, I was on the phone with Xavier. I was like, no, this is just so strange, but I love it at the same time.
Or wait, do you mean
No,
Cam?
no.
Oh, you're
I'm
meaning
just
Xavier.
random name.
Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, I've never talked to Xavier on the phone.
No. I'm just throwing out a random name or like
Yeah,
let's just
no, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it is
oh,
weird.
Taylor's sitting next to me right now and I'm like,
No, literally.
what do you mean?
And your sister was sitting next to me.
I know, and her mom, I was like, what? All my worlds colliding. But I love it so much. Like, just to be so clear, I love it. It's just so strange though, because like,
No, it really was. Like being in an Airbnb with Simone in the Hollywood Hills. I was like,
wait, who else was there from your cast? Was it just you?
Taylor. Oh, from my cast, yeah, I was
Yeah.
the only one. Taylor had
Okay.
like texted me about it, and she was like,
Okay.
yeah.
Good. I'm glad because I know that first night can be super overwhelming. So I'm glad it wasn't turned into like this big party thing.
No.
But
I couldn't go to the after party. I had so much press. I was
That's
really
okay.
sad. I was really looking forward to it, but
No, that's okay because we will have plenty more premieres and finales, and that night was about you. And I think if you had maybe gone to that wrap party, you would have been bombarded, and it
yeah,
would be very overwhelming,
yeah, yeah,
So
for
give or
sure.
take, but there will be plenty more opportunities to
Yes,
party.
yes, 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 100%.
So that's so interesting because Ava was a really large character on the show, like the edited show.
Right.
So whenever you guys would say things like, "Oh, all she does is sleep," "Oh, she's just a number," like that was very confusing for me
Yeah,
to
like she was
reconcile.
not an integral role, and like
Yeah.
love Keanu. Keanu wasn't an integral role either, and so it's really interesting seeing the edit of the show because I'm like, I don't know how they decided to put the puzzle pieces together. Like I'm just confused, like how they decided who. I mean, even like thinking about like the edit because I skipped some of the episode, like watched like 20 minutes or like whatever, or like 10 minutes just to see. And I was like, actually, like Morgan was a main character throughout the show. But it's funny because in the actual house, probably from week 6, week 5 to like week 10, she really like I don't know how to explain it. Like she was a huge target, which I
Took a
don't.
back seat, maybe?
Yeah, like Vinny was more of the main character in the house than Morgan. And it was like Morgan was attached to Vinny in the house, but every Vinny was the one with the connections. I don't know how to explain it. Like
Yeah.
Vinny had Lauren, he had Keanu, he had Morgan, he had so many relations. Like I genuinely thought the first 5 weeks Vinny would probably win the game.
Mm.
And just because of he was literally a little like he was literally everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere hosting one-on-ones with everywhere. Like he was the HOH week after week. Like
Yeah.
yeah, but obviously the second half completely they flipped. I feel
They
like,
flipped, yes.
but yeah, it's just really interesting. No, Ava was definitely not a main character. No. I love you, Ava, but she knows that. Like
Yeah.
she was definitely more of a side character in the house because
Mm.
she slept for most of the day. Like she would always get in trouble for sleeping all day.
Yeah. Okay, because they
Naps. I'm talking like 5 hours. Where is Ava? She's in the bunk bed. Like
but we weren't allowed to sleep at all during the day.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
we're napping fast.
Real okay. Rules have definitely changed because back in my day, no.
They yelled at us. No, they yelled at us, but
Oh, okay, but you guys would just do it anyway.
I started ignoring at one point because I was like, I need a nap. Like,
Yep. The one thing we would do to like get around not being able to nap is we would put on our sunglasses and then we would bust out a Bible. And then Tiffany would just start reading a random verse and she would
yeah.
be like, almost like she was speaking in tongues. And then we would all just nap. Like that was our way of getting around it. But okay, so we talked about how Morgan and Vinny kind of flipped. Vinny, I always saw as kind of having a Tyler Crispin trajectory. Do you remember season 20
I
with
love Tyler Crispin. Yes.
I love Tyler
Great
Crispin
player.
too, but
Vinny is no Tyler Crispin.
no,
Just
but
because
just
of in the house experience, Vinny's not even close. It literally was just the fact that he was the first HOH.
yeah.
And so he had influence over Lauren, and like Lauren was connected to Catherine and Riley, and then he also had Morgan and Zach. That was it. He had no social game with the other half of the house. Like I didn't like him, Rachel didn't like him, Mickey didn't like it. Like the literal whole Ava never liked him. I mean, like literally, it was literally just those people. But
Mhm.
the problem is, those are the people winning competition.
Yeah.
Lauren won a competition. Vinny won a competition. You know what I mean? So that was why it was impactful, I guess, because he was
Mhm.
also close with Vinny. I mean, Jimmy, week 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was like he was close with the people who were winning the comps. So, but he in the house socially was nothing like Tyler. Oh my god, because everybody liked Tyler. People didn't really like.
That's true. Tyler was very likable, but I just mean in terms of like Vinny having his hand dipped in so many pots.
Yes. Okay,
And
that I agree with.
that's how Tyler was too. And I think what ended up getting him is he didn't own up to the fact that he was two-timing everyone. And then also Tyler was just very, very indecisive because he was working with so many people.
Yeah.
And so he tried really hard to just play the middle, play the middle. And there comes a point in the game where you can just no longer play the middle and you have to show your cards at least a little.
Right.
And I think that was one of the downfalls of Tyler's game. And I sort of saw Vinny as having a similar trajectory. But
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Vinny's game, the problem with him, he was winning, still he won competitions, but the problem was he didn't do anything with the HOHs he did have. He I like love Morgan, but Morgan ran his HOH, like the last two HOHs. And I think him being like in love with her probably like clouded his judgment. Because yeah, and that was one of the reasons why I even said in my speech, like I literally as soon as Zach left, I was like, period, I don't even like Vinny, but I'm about to work him because I saw that as an opening because I saw early on that Vinny was definitely romantically into Morgan. And men typically think with a different head. And I was like, if I'm good with Morgan, I can be good with Vinny. Just because Morgan will push him to like keep me safe and do the right thing. And that is exactly what happened. And so that was what started the judge. Like that was my reason for creating that dynamic was because I was like, two is better than one. I'm already in a duo. Like I have Rachel, but I need other protection elsewhere. And Vinny also had Keanu's ear. So I was like, if I can create something where Vinny thinks he's a part of it, like obviously he was at the bottom of the five, but if Morgan's in it, he'll feel like this is real. And then not only do we have Morgan and Vince, but we can also have Keanu on the side because Vince told Keanu and Keanu told Vince a lot of things. Because this was before Rachel and Keanu were like super, super close again. And so that was the main reason why. Otherwise, I wanted Vinny out every single week, basically. But I just saw him as like more of a shield too towards the end because everybody kind of wanted, like people started really not liking him and respecting his game. And so I was like, this is great. If I'm on the block next to him, I'm always going to stay now.
Yeah.
That was kind of the dynamic.
And I mean, those two, specifically Morgan and Vinny, just kept going back to back to back to back to back when it came to HOH and vetoes.
Yes.
So that judges alliance that you and Will created,
Yes.
because the show didn't necessarily give you that credit, but like you and Will were responsible.
Yeah, me and Will, yeah. Which I think I said in my speech, I think. Yeah, I was like,
Yes, you did say that in your speech.
Yeah.
The show, again, I think just has trouble when it comes to editing young women, and that's something they're going to have to work on. But that alliance kept you safe.
Totally.
And I feel like you saw the writing on the wall, you knew what you needed to do, and that's why you were like, listen, let's bring in Morgan. She's in a very vulnerable position right now. She's on the block next to Mickey and Riley. Let's make her feel like she's a part of something. And I think because you guys brought her in when she was at her worst in the game, she really rode hard for that alliance. And that's something I'm going to have to give Morgan credit for because she pounded that alliance into the ground.
Pounded it for the dumbest reasons, and I just went along. I was like, She's like, because Will and Rachel, the jury votes. I'm like, yeah. Like, I mean, the reasons were absolutely absurd, but she believed them.
Yeah.
She really believed that Rachel would be. I'm like, Rachel, I'm biased. Please, if I'm at the end, Rachel is voting for me. But I'd be like, yeah, Rachel's so unbiased. She's,
That is something that's interesting because I guess, okay, wait, who was in jury? Okay, so people looked at Ava as having these locked votes from like Will, potentially Rachel. They felt like Lauren and Kelly were voting for her no matter what. I was very confused as to why they didn't necessarily feel like you had locked votes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So I started pushing that narrative, which the show probably doesn't show. But I was like...
It doesn't. Because I'm even confused.
Yes. So I pushed that narrative. I was like, because I knew eventually it would come down to me versus Ava. Like me versus Ava on the block. I already saw the writing on the wall with the way the end of the show was going. Because although Morgan didn't win a comp till day 54, after that, she was smacking those vetoes left and right. So I was like, even if I'm on the block next to Morgan, I will eventually be on the block. Ava would be the replacement, and me and Ava are going to be next to each other. So I started planting that seed probably like week 10. Early. Because I was like, it's more believable if you start saying something before it actually comes to fruition and you're in the situation, which is something I did a lot, like throughout the game, because I'm like, you got to start early because otherwise it's not believable if you say it when you're already next to somebody on the block.
Like when you're in danger, like you have to be proactive. Yeah.
Right. And so I started planting the seed about Ava having locked votes because I was like, Ava and Will, man, Ava and Will are so close. And that was something I started when I was on the block next to Will. Because that was another reason why I was like, Will and Ava, consecutively, they're lock votes for each other. Like, in the game and at the end. They're always going to vote for each other, which that actually wasn't a lie. Will 100% would have voted for Ava at the end next to anyone. Like, that was his number one. I would say I was probably like his number two is like my read on the game. But Ava was his number one. And so that part was true. The part about Lauren and Kelly now, me and Kelly barely talked, like, ever, so I just made that up. But I definitely clocked that her, Lauren, and Ava had, like, some sort of alliance or something going on. And so I was able to play on that, like, that week, especially the week to stay over Will. I was like, them three, like, they are locked in, like, they're gonna go with each other to the end. I feel like they have a final three. Like, I was just saying everything I could to try to get myself out of the situation, because if people started seeing Ava as a threat, they would see Will as more of a threat, and then Will could go home next to me. And then everybody ate it up and believed it. Like, the whole rest of the game, they were like,
Yeah.
I can't win next to Ava. Ava has lock votes. Like, I was like, I can't believe this. People are believing this, but
Your cast was a bit of a mess, I will say.
but I feel like it was because a lot of the season early on I was blunt.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I had that bluntness, I realized I could start using that as a weapon. So even when I was telling lies, I realized now everybody thinks that everything I say is fact. Like, it's the truth, because I was so blunt and honest the first half of the game.
That is something you said you would do before. Like, I think everything you ended up doing in the house, you said you were going to do, because we kind of talked about how honesty is currency in that game.
Yeah.
And so for the first couple weeks, you tell the truth as much as you physically can, without, like, putting yourself in too much jeopardy, because that's the reputation you then hold in this game. And then at a certain point, you can start lying left and right, but you will always be looked at as this truth serum. If you, so that is something that you said you were gonna do back in, like, hey. So, okay, so because I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I really want to hit the important moments. Okay, the White Locust twist. We have to get into that because, I mean, it was so painful to lose Rachel, but did your cast understand how that twist worked? I don't think so.
That's a very good question. Okay, Ava, which was my point, and, like, I was never gonna willingly take Ava to the final two, but if I ended up in the final two with her, I felt like I had really strong arguments against her that I would have given, which one is that she didn't give a about strategy. Okay, Ava went off of vibes. She went off of vibes. She went off of who she liked, who she didn't like, who rubbed her the wrong way, who rubbed her the right way. Like, that is how she played her game. And so her winning and, like, being the person to start that off completely just backfired, because she was pissed that Rachel grabbed her a certain way, and so she didn't want to pick Rachel just off of vibes, which she was aligned with Rachel. So it made no sense at all, but I don't think she cared that it made no sense, because she wanted Vinny out and she picked him first.
No, I know.
I still don't know to this day if she understood or she just didn't care. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think she... But a lot of the other people, I think Vinny understood.
Oh, yeah.
I think he played it off that he didn't understand, but I felt that it was very intentional. I felt like he knew Lauren might have gone home in that twist.
Yeah.
Lauren was his number one. And so he picked her on purpose.
Yeah.
Morgan picked Rachel because Rachel wanted to be picked at that point, because everybody was coming out saying, oh, I finished in 2 minutes and da-da-da, and it was so easy and da-da-da. So, like, she felt that 3 minutes and 30 seconds was gonna be fine. I did too. I thought that would have been fine. I thought she would have completed it.
But, okay, so I guess my question being, because I remember seeing during that twist, someone was like, I had exactly 3 minutes left. So 3.5 minutes, that's, that's putting it close. So I think if I were in that house, I'd be thinking, like, whoever goes at 3.5 minutes, that is probably the last person who will be able to go. And then whoever's picked next will definitely go home, because 2.5 minutes just isn't enough. So was Rachel thinking, like, I just don't want to be that person?
I think it was also people lying, because I remember when Morgan came out, she said she had a couple minutes. She had a couple minutes. And so when we were trying to do the math, because she wasn't exactly sure, we were like, okay, it sounds like she finished it in like 2:45, 2:50. Mind you, we don't have time. We have no idea. Like, we're just going off of people's word. And I remember Morgan had said she was somewhere around 2:45, 2:50, and she emphasized that she went slow. And so we were like, oh. if she went slow, you know what I'm saying, and she finished it around 2:45, which she didn't finish in 2:45. But if she, at the time, that's the information we had. And so we're like, if she finished it in 2:45 and she went slow, Rachel's probably bet mine. You guys have to remember, Morgan had not won a competition really at this point. She won one veto. So we're like, she's not really good at competition. So if she finished it then, my girl Rachel is going to be golden. Vinny had a hurt leg and he said he had 3 minutes left on the clock, which would have been 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But he said he did it super slow because he's injured and they were exaggerating, I guess. So, but off of the information we had, and we kind of took it as word, I don't think we really thought people would lie, which they obviously did. We thought she'd be fine, which is really sad. I knew I didn't want to go though.
Yeah, because not everyone was going to go. And so I was just confused as to why Rachel kind of insisted on being picked, but maybe she was really worried about whoever gets picked for 3:30, they will pick me for 2:30, and that's not going to be
happened. Yes, and that was something I told her too, because I remember she was super confident, but then right before Morgan came back, she comes up to me and she's like, I feel uneasy, I feel nervous. Should I go? And I was thinking, well, I think you should, because 3:30, everybody's completed it in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And if you don't go, she's going to pick probably Kelly or Kiana, and they're going to pick you. So, would you rather go now, or would you rather go at 1 minute and 30 seconds? I mean, I don't know. Because say Kiana finished it. Say he picks Kelly, and Kelly's a wizard at puzzles. Say she finishes it. Now it's whoever goes next is 100% going home. You don't have a fighting chance.
Yeah.
So, I guess that was the logic, and also people lying. People being like, oh, I finished it so fast. It was so easy.
And I mean, Rachel did get a little flustered. And you've never experienced this because you were never evicted, you were never sent home, which is so cool to say. But I almost feel like there is this feeling in your stomach that you get kind of before you can even consciously assign feelings or thoughts to whatever's happening in your stomach. And you just know that your time in that house is coming to an end. And I wonder if Rachel got that feeling. And Janelle was actually on our podcast that night.
No way!
Yes. And Janelle loves you. We were definitely rooting for, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I thought she was rooting for Morgan.
She was, but you can root for multiple people.
Okay.
I would say this podcast generally was rooting for you, Rachel, Morgan throughout the season.
Okay.
I would say so.
Okay.
And Jimmy, but Jimmy obviously left pretty early.
Yeah.
But Janelle was like, live feeds were down, so you guys were doing this White Locust twist. We had no idea what was happening. And Janelle was like, I have this horrible feeling in my stomach. I feel like we're going to turn on live feeds and Rachel's going to be gone. And I was like, no, Rachel and Ashley are in a decent position now.
Yeah.
At that moment in the game. And we had no idea about this twist. So we were like, just with the sheer number of opportunities you have to save yourself, we think they're going to be fine. Yeah. And Janelle was like, I don't know. This is the first time all season that I've just had this horrible feeling. And sure enough, we turn on live feeds. We're like, where's the red hair? And then she just wasn't there. And I was like, Ashley must be so sad, right?
Oh, it was so sad. I had to pack all of her things. It took me 2.5 hours.
Oh my gosh. And you cried.
Unpack that day. She helped me unpack my whole things before the White Locust twist. And organized everything for me. Rolled all of my clothes, her and Morgan.
Yeah.
And then literally 5 hours later, I was packing her things. I literally was crying. I was distraught.
I know. I hated seeing you cry. I did shed a tear just because of how sad everything was. And also, you know what it's like to lose your number one in that game.
Yeah.
And you were able to adjust very quickly, but sometimes it's almost like, wait, where do I go from here?
Literally. Even on a personal level, I was like, oh my gosh, there's nobody left here, besides Will, which I love. But Will also loves his alone time. So,
yeah.
But I was I literally only have Will, and Will loves his alone time, and he loves a good nap. So
yeah.
It is terrible.
Yeah.
I love Morgan, but like I said, Morgan and Vinny have a special connection. And so I was like, this is terrible.
There's no one left.
Yeah, there's no one left. That's how it felt. Obviously, me and Morgan got closer and closer as the game went on. But at that moment, I was literally like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I do have to ask, and I don't know if you've been asked this question before. Had Rachel stayed and had, let's just say, like Kelly gone home in that twist, how do you think the game would have turned out differently for you? Have you ever thought about that?
I haven't. You know what? I still think I would have been okay. You know why? Because Rachel was always a bigger target. And I don't think Rachel would have beat Morgan in a lot of those vetoes. Like, towards the
Yeah.
end, like, I don't think she would have beat her in BB Comics. I don't think, it was just, the end of the game was completely physical, basically. I mean, there was almost no mental competitions until the final HOH. I mean, it was literally that, like, I was so sore those last 2 weeks just because it went, literally, it was like, Tiny Veto was the only break we got. Literally. Everything was,
Yeah.
like, super physical. The HOHs, like, everything was physical. We had pressure cooker, and we had that Morgan one, the dice thing, like, which, Miracle only knew how heavy that sucker was. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was physical competitions for multiple weeks in a row. So
Hmm.
I don't know if she would have beat some of those, like, the athlete, like,
Yeah.
the Morgans, Morgan's a D1 athlete. Like, she's extremely strong. She's extremely fit. Rachel's obviously very fit, but I just don't know how she would have paired up on stuff like that.
Yeah.
And most of the vetoes to save yourself were all physical at the end of the game. So
Hmm.
I think she would have been in trouble. I think she would have been in trouble. I don't know if she would have been in trouble on White Locust, because if Rachel wasn't picked,
Hmm.
if Rachel was picked first, how she should have been,
Hmm.
Ava's ally, it would have been totally different. Lauren wouldn't have even gone, probably, for,
Yeah.
and she wouldn't have been choice. It would have been Vince or Morgan.
Yeah.
So I just don't know. I think I would have been okay, though, because I think sitting on the block next to people would have put us up together, but I wouldn't have gone home next to Rachel. Simply because she's the queen. She's the biggest target in the house. Everybody was wanting that on their resume, taking Rachel Riley out. So I think I still would have been okay, actually, shockingly. But here's my thing. Now, Will, I have thought about it. If Will stayed, I would not have made it to the end. So it was actually perfect that we were off the block together that week, hindsight 2020, and that Morgan won the veto. Like, everything worked out the way it should have, because I needed Morgan more than I needed Will. Love you, Will. But that was just because of Vince. I always knew that Morgan was going to be more valuable to me because of that connection with Vince, because it was the only thing stopping from Vince and Lauren from just taking off in the game. And so I think had Will not left and we weren't on the block next to each other and Morgan left that week, if she didn't win the veto, I wouldn't have made it to the end.
I agree. I agree that Morgan became very, very valuable because of her faith in the Judges Alliance that you started. And you definitely brought your speech kind of back around to that. Just, I guess, kind of setting the groundwork. Like, yeah, Morgan advocated for me to be here, yada, yada. But, like, I created that structure
Yeah.
that gave her the opportunity to do that. So I loved that. Okay, let's see. Because again, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, and I will be talking to you at some point eventually.
Yes.
Um, But let's kind of fast forward because a lot of those like end weeks in the season was just us kind of watching Morgan, Vinny just go back and forth. The Vince show or the Vorgan show, the
Yeah.
Mint show.
Yeah.
Wait, also time out because I had a patient whose last name rhymed with Vorgan. I'm not going to say their name. And I went in and I was like, "Hi, Mrs. Vorgan." And she was like, "Who's that?" And I was like, not me having Vince and Morgan on my mind.
No, they were the whole edit. I've seen the last. I saw the finale. Even the finale was mostly about them, even though I won the competition. Completely
Yeah.
about them. I mean, I guess America loves a good showmance, and so.
But was it good? Was it even a showmance?
No, but was it a showmance? Yes, because it was a TV romance, but.
To me, it always gave one-sided. And you're the one who lived with them. So I don't know, maybe you have your own thoughts. But I always thought he was into her. I thought she more so saw it as like a platonic type thing slash a way to advance her game.
What can I say? That's like. I will just say, being in the house, all of us, it was mutual. But I will follow that up by saying Morgan has said, I brought it up to her multiple times because everybody in the house talked about them 24/7. Because it was very, at first it was one-sided from a side that you probably wouldn't predict. And then it was like, yeah. And then it was like, okay, this is definitely mutual. And then it was like, okay, now one person seems a little bit more, but it's definitely like still mutual. But I will caveat this by saying I talked to Morgan about it multiple times in the house because I called it out. And I also said I wouldn't be surprised if you guys started dating in a few months. Like I said, I'm honest. Like I was as honest as I could be without pissing her off and like her wanting to evict me. But she said that she felt it was platonic.
Okay. Okay.
So those are my two perspectives.
Interesting. And I guess he's back together with Kelsey now?
It seems like it, yeah. I mean, listen, 7 years, no ring, mid-30s. She's already put up with a lot. Like, like, please. So now, he's got a little money. He's been unemployed. He's on TV.
Bitch!
He's getting the better end of the bargain now. Shit, she already paid her dues.
You really said, no, this is Vinny in his prime. This is Victor in his prime.
Like Vincenzo in his prime. Like, she better go ahead and take that, like she already put in 7 years of hard work, no ring. Like,
and you said that was when he was Vincent. Now he's Vincenzo.
now he's Vincenzo.
Okay.
Right.
That is insane, but also we're not here to talk about Vorgan/Mintz. We're here to talk about your game. I just kind of needed to know because that was like the bulk of the edit for the last 5 or so weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of these people keep going. We have the double eviction. I was just praying. I was like, Ashley's going to survive the double eviction. And you were so good to the point where you threw that competition because I could tell. I was like, she's in the lead right now, and all of a sudden her
you could tell. My parents said that too. Yeah. They could tell. They asked me immediately after. They're like, did you
go
that? I was like,
well, because you were in the lead, and then all of a sudden your balls were going behind you. I was like, no. Ashley, listen, I know what's happening here.
I was like, I'm doing a little too good. This isn't good.
But no, you were like so good. You knew you weren't going anywhere. There was no combination of scenarios where you would be leaving. So there was just no need to pray. Like you were fine during the double eviction. Laptop, sorry. Okay, so we lost Kelly, we lost Lauren. Honestly, a favorable outcome for me because they didn't add a whole lot to the game. They seem like sweet women, but
Kelly's sweet.
She seemed nice enough. I don't know her.
Edit.
Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to be nice here.
Lauren is very sweet. Lauren is very sweet. Kelly can be sweet. I feel like, she's got an evil twin sister.
Wait, have you heard about Ashley and Ashleyna?
I have. That's why I thought of it. I feel like Kelly has a twin as well. It's like Kelly and Killer Kelly or something like.
Okay, Kelly and Kelly and I don't know. We'll work on it.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
Okay, so they leave, and now we're at top 5. Also, the pace of your guys' endgame was so strange because, like, you guys still had, I think, 9 people left in the house and 2 weeks left to go. I was like, this is unheard of. Yeah, this is unheard of because you guys just started dropping like flies. It was the most insane thing in the world. Okay, so then Keanu leaves, and we pretty much knew, like, Keanu at that point had to comp out. And I did feel like, okay, if anyone could do it, it is probably Keanu. But then, he couldn't, and he was sent home. What was it like living with Keanu? Because I think when you stop taking someone seriously, then they become a whole lot more likable. And for me, every single one of his reads were just so loud and so wrong.
So wrong.
So wrong. To the point where I just started calling him loud and wrong on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, that's my loud and wrong king. I started loving him because of how off he was.
Yeah.
I can imagine that was probably annoying to deal with in
In
the
the house, it was the most annoying thing in the world. He thought he knew everything under the sky and the sunshine on God's green earth. Okay, I was like, there was multiple times in the season I tried to work with Keanu, just because, especially in the beginning, because I was like, he's a target, I was a target, I'm a smaller target, but I'm still a target. We should stick together. He literally, I remember week 2 after going on the block, I tried to talk to him because I was like, maybe if we can pull him as a number, we can pull him into like the Will, me, Mickey, Rachel like type of side. And so I talked to him one-on-one on the outside, and I was just like, listen, I think, we should stick together. You're now a big target in the house. Obviously, I'm a mini target. Will's now a target because he's been on the block. Like, Amy, like, we need to all stick together in this game because, otherwise it's going to be easy for people to put us up again. And then he's like, oh, I'm not going up again. I was like, you're not, what? Excuse me? What? And he was like, no, why would anybody do that? If anything, people are going to be scared to put me up. I said, Keanu, respectfully, no offense, you're probably going on the block week after week. He was like, no, I'm not. He literally got mad and we got into a full-on, argument kind of about it. Until I just got up and was like, okay, I'm not going to argue back and forth when I know I'm right about something.
Yeah.
And then there he was next week on the block.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. It was moments like that made it very hard to work with Keanu in the game. It made him hard to be around him a lot, honestly. I didn't start liking Keanu until probably week 10. Actually, that's a lie. Probably week 11, right before he left.
I was going to say, he left week 12.
Week 12 is when I started liking Keanu. Once he was on the block and going home, that's when I started liking him.
On his way out the door, as he was meeting Julie, actually, I think I do like you.
Because there was 3 days after the veto that we were just sitting around. We already knew the veto wasn't getting used and we knew he was going home and he just had to stay. It was a really weird timing that they had. It was 3-day gaps where we knew he knew he was going home. I knew he was going home. HBO Showtime knew he was going home, but he still had to stay in the house,
Yeah, that's brutal.
And those were the days he started being more real because it's he knew he was going home. So it was less gamey game talk, more reflecting, more real life. And I started liking him. I was like, okay, he's a decent guy. He just has a temper and an ego. Many men do.
I was just going to say, as a lot of them do, but he in particular was just so wrong about everything. I've never seen anything like it.
No, it was insane. He said he talked about being a BB legend and a 2-time BB winner. I said, baby, you got to win the game first to become a winner. It's week 8. He's talking about being the first 2-time Big Brother winner.
Hold up. Okay, one step at a time. But also, I love the fact that Vince put him on the block 16 times, and he was like, that's still my number 1. I was like, what is in the water that these people are drinking? Because there are only 3 people in that house that make sense. 3.5. Ashley, Rachel, Will, sometimes Morgan.
Yeah, sometimes Morgan. Even sometimes, I remember she was telling me her pros in the game at the end because she thought she was going to win the game. And so she was asking me what should she say in her final speeches or whatever. And I'm thinking, I am not going to tell you what you should say or whatever. But I just remember she was telling me points. She was like, well, I convinced Rachel, to use the veto on me during Rachel's HOA. I was like,
wait, why would she share that with you?
It's not even true. That's when I realized, oh my gosh, you're sharing this with me. If I'm sitting next to you, I'm going to talk about how your reads are off because Rachel wanted her gone. Literally, Rachel, 1, would have never used the veto on Morgan. 2, Rachel didn't even want the veto to be used, period, because she wanted Morgan or Vinny, preferably, gone. I was like, oh my gosh, her reads are off. Then she said Keanu. She was like, I could talk about how I flipped Keanu into wanting to work with me. I was like, Keanu has been wanting you gone for weeks. I love Morgan, but her reads sometimes were so off, but she was another person who did think she was right a lot.
Yeah.
And she would literally tell me, Ashley, you don't know what you're talking about sometimes. Multiple people did, not just her. Multiple people did. And so I'm just glad that there's a show to watch back. They don't show my reads, which I know they don't. Just to show how it, what people really were doing. Because I also tried to tell her that I'm pretty sure Lauren is Vince's number 1.
Yeah.
He didn't think that for a while, and then now I've heard through live people commenting on my lives that that was true. Lauren was Vince's number 1. Who won the final 2 with Lauren, which is exactly what I thought.
Yes.
That's smart on Vince. He wasn't going to beat Morgan, so I can't blame
Yeah.
Vince.
Wait, but also, okay, something that you said a while ago in this podcast that was interesting was you said I wouldn't have taken Ava to final two. Now, you all made it to final four, Vince, Morgan, you, Ava. Was your plan always to take Vince to the end?
Yes, Vince was my ideal person to take to the end. Once we got to final five.
Okay. Otherwise, was it going to be Keanu?
No, I would say week. When was I on the block?
Week
Week 10.
10.
Week
We're gonna
10.
have like
I wanted to take Morgan to final two.
you
Because
did.
I did. Because Morgan had only won one competition. I
Yeah.
only won one competition. And I had a much, which I'm sure they won't show on the show. I had a much better social game than Morgan. I mean, at that point, when we were at 9, nobody wanted to work with Morgan besides me, Vinny, and even Will, like, was not really, on the Morgan train. Like, he just felt like Morgan focused her whole game on Vinny, which she did, which I'm sure the show won't show, but she focused most of her first
It
week of the game on
it
Vinny.
does. The show
Okay, it does.
shows that. But I mean, thankfully for her, Vinny was the one when she wasn't winning. Vinny was the one winning, and so that investment she put in that relationship really did help her because she had such a handle on him. And so I think that would have been a point that should have been like the shining star, if you will, of her final two speech, not
Totally.
anything else. 'Cause
Totally.
you're right, she didn't have the best social game, but she could
Yeah.
win.
Right. But she started winning after week 10. She was on a winning streak. I mean, she won like every single veto pretty much after
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But keep in mind, week 10, she only won one competition, and that was week
Mhm.
8 Charcuterie Protection Agency. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking, I have a way better social game with her. I'm looking at the 9 people left. I have 10 times of a relationship with all of these people, besides Vince, obviously, but everybody else I had a better relationship with. Lauren, Ava, Will, Rachel, even Keanu I had a better relationship than Morgan. So I was like, she was my ideal final two at that time because we had only both won one competition. I had a stronger social game. Now that changed real quick the next week when she won veto and then the next veto and then the next veto. I was like, oh, I'm absolutely not taking her. But week 10, I wanted to take Morgan. Week 11, I don't remember who's HOH, but like I said, we went from 9 to like 6 or 5, like in a week, basically. A week and a half. So by then I knew I wanted to take Vince because I just saw his game. I mean, Morgan ran his
Yes.
last two HOHs. So
Well, did you also, okay, so the fact that you and Vince started out this game together, you being his number one target, and then him losing to you almost unanimously, did you recognize that Vince would have a very hard time articulating his game and owning up to the game that he played? Because I do believe that if Vince had displayed the same level of intentionality as you, he could have potentially gotten a few more votes.
yes, I was thinking it'd be 4-3. I thought I'd beat him, not unanimously. I thought I'd have not even I thought. I knew I would have Rachel, Will, Ava. And then I figured I would most likely have Kelly because Kelly didn't like me, but she couldn't stand Vince. So I figured I'd have them 4. And then I thought, actually, that's a lie. No. I thought I'd win 4-3 for sure and potentially 5-2. I thought I'd have Rachel, Will, Ava, and Keanu because me and Keanu had a conversation in the last 2 days before he left where he basically said, if I can win the final HOH and make a big move, he would vote for me to win because I played a super honest and loyal game. And he said, like, that's something he really values. And if I can articulate moves that I made, he would vote for me. So I knew, and he told me, you better sit next to Vince. Like, but I'm like thinking, I already know that, baby. Like, I've already been telling everybody on the camera, I'm taking Vince. But yeah, so I knew I would win next to Vince with those 4 for sure. I thought he'd get Lauren and Morgan. And then I felt like Kelly was like questionable because she didn't like me, but she also hated Vince. So I thought it could be either way. But I figured I would beat him, but it would be 4-3 potentially. Now, once I got Lauren's vote, I knew I was going to win the game. So
Yeah.
that was a vote I wasn't calculating in my 4.
Yeah.
But yes, he played a terrible social game at the end. I mean, he made bad moves. He lied to everyone unnecessarily. I mean, it was just dumb lies. I knew he wasn't going to be able to explain his game well because I don't even think he understood his game. So,
Yeah.
I don't think he did. I think he made moves without intentionality. And so I didn't know his speech would be that bad. But
Yeah.
I was banking on him not being... I felt like he didn't understand what he was doing. I really did towards the end of the game. But
Well,
the first half of the game, I thought he'd win the game. he moved with a lot of intention. It seemed like he was pulling in numbers of the quiet people, like the Laurens and the, so
Yeah. I think his speech perhaps reflected that he just wasn't as aware as we initially gave him credit for. And I'm going to blame the edit for that. The edit absolutely knows what to do with a white man.
yeah, right,
The edit will give all the grace in the world to a white man.
absolutely.
And I almost felt like they were kind of like for the first half of the game, they were almost priming the viewers into accepting Vinny as the winner of this season because the winner has to make sense to casuals. That's where a majority of their revenue comes from. And then there was a transition, sort of right after Will left, where I felt like they were priming Morgan to be the winner
Yeah,
of our season. And as someone who has been on the other side, you sort of clock exactly why you're being shown certain things, who's getting airtime. And something that we talked about before you leaving was like, pay attention to who's going to the DR the most because that person is controlling the narrative. Those are the power players.
yes,
So just be aware of these things.
yes.
And then you end up winning
I know.
the final HOH.
See, though, I had no idea. Okay, beginning of the game, it was obvious who the power players are because of the DR thing. Like, it was very obvious Mickey, Jimmy, and Rachel were the main characters. That was very clear. Morgan, not so much. Like, that part surprised me because to everyone in the house, it was like Jimmy, Mickey, Rachel. Always in there, like, getting called every single second. Towards the end, I'm telling you, I got called into the DR the same amount of times as Morgan. So that's why I was so surprised about my edit because there are so many DRs they just did not use. Like, where I did talk about strategy and stuff, and they just decided, so that's why I'm so, because everyone's like, oh, you're so shocked about the edit. Like, couldn't you tell about called? And I'm like, no, guys, I was called all the time. Like, I genuinely was very shocked, like, to see my edit because there are a lot of things and a lot of moves that I was able to articulate that they just decided, I guess, it wasn't important to include.
Yeah.
But I knew that they felt that Morgan was going to win the game. Actually, no, I'll tell you after this call. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think towards the end of the game, I think Keanu was obviously the favorite. I picked up on that really quick in America. Like, I figured that because he was getting called all the time. More than Morgan and Vinny. And then also, what can I say? I'll just say I didn't think Morgan would win the game until week 11.
Okay.
That was when she started winning the bulk of the competitions. But
Yeah.
before then, me, Will, all of us, we did not think that, just off of the way the game was going. I mean, like I said, when we made it to top 9, nobody was working with Morgan besides me and Vinny and Will, but then Will left. So it was literally just me, Morgan, Vinny. But Vinny kept winning the HOHs, so...
Exactly.
So, and she kept winning the vetoes. So that surprised me. But yes, once we got to the end of the game, I definitely thought Morgan would win because the game is kind of built around competitions, let's be real.
It is. And I mean, at that point, I think we all felt like whoever wins this final HOH wins the game. And it could go both ways. But when you won part 2 of the HOH, because of course I had like different accounts post notifications turned on, I texted your mom immediately. In fact, I think I called your mom immediately. I was like, wait, Ashley won part 2. And your mom was like, did Ashley win the game? I said, Mrs. Hollis, no. Now this next week, she was like, was Vinny evicted? I said, no, that's not how it works. And she was like, okay, I'm on my way to the dentist. Can you call me back?
I'm screaming because she doesn't understand. She's never watched Big Brother in her life. Except
That's
for,
okay.
she tried to watch a couple of the episodes like during your season.
Yeah.
But my mom is just not into like game show like type of thing. She's a Real Housewives girly. Like she is like
Same. But no, your mom was so funny. She was like, okay, so Vince is gone. Ashley won the game. I was like, the finale's literally next Sunday. Like, you're about to fly out to what? So
that is so funny.
anyway, you beat Vinny and Twitter screamed. Because up until that point, like, You won your
I
veto
didn't
in the
even think.
first
Yeah,
week.
no, literally.
And we know that these competitions get more physical towards the end. And so the odds were, no offense, stacked
No,
against
the
you.
odds were giving Ashley like
Track
second
record.
place. Like,
But just the fact that he didn't reread his
we
card,
reread.
and that's something that gets so many teams on The Amazing Race. Like, if you watch a season of The Amazing Race, that is what ends up
Oh, I'm
costing
watching this
teams.
season.
Oh, I wonder who's on.
Yeah.
I
This
wonder
is
who you're rooting for.
ever. I've never seen the show ever.
It's really fun. It's like a feel-good show, but always reread your clue. If something is not clicking, reread it. And you had the wherewithal to be like, let me just pick up this card again. And you were like,
Yeah.
oh my God. We went so crazy. And we were like, it's not just going to be Morgan versus Vince. And then we would have to count on Morgan to win. And then Morgan would have to choose you. And like, if Morgan's the one bringing you, that kind of like
I'm not
diminishes your
winning. Yeah,
argument.
no, I'm not winning. Yeah.
Like, we knew it kind of would come down to that final HOH, so we were so happy. Literally so happy.
Girl, so many. I came in being like, I'm either second or first, because I felt like I'd put in the work that week for Morgan to take me, and I knew I was getting second place next to her. Like, there's pretty much, if I had won some comps, then it's like, I feel like it was a fair chance, just because I know the edit showed Morgan was like this social mastermind, but like it really was just with Vinny. Like, in the actual game, most people saw her as, until like week 11, honestly, as like playing Vinny's game, just because she made emotionally charged decisions based off of Vinny. But when she started comping out, I was like, so there's no way I'm gonna beat her, like, because people really respect those competition wins. That's just the facts. They do.
Yeah.
And so I was like, if I win this HOH, I can win the game. If I lose, I'm second place. But I was really like so content. You know, I'm like religious, so I'm like, whatever God has to me is like what it's meant to be. I'm either meant to get 75,000 or 750, and that's just what it is. And I genuinely did love Morgan, so I was like, if she wins it, this game is meant for her, because she should have gone home weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Or could have gone home weeks ago, just because she was a huge target. She wasn't aligned with a lot of the people left.
Mm-hmm.
And she stayed all this time and won every single time she needed to win. If she wins this final HOH, she is meant to win the game. And God bless. Like, she is an amazing person. Like, she truly has such a great heart. So I genuinely was like, either way, I'm happy. I would rather 750, but I'm happy. But I think that mindset is what helped me have the best focus ever during the competition. Because I was just like, whatever happens, happens. And it's not that I didn't care. I was literally just at peace with like, whatever God has for me is what is going to happen. If he wins, he's meant to win. And then I won. I was like, oh, I'm meant to win. Okay, great. Like, this is a way better outcome.
Okay, Ashley won. Oh wait, I guess it is me. I love it. Okay, so what do you think happened with Morgan during that final HOH? Because I was sitting with my mom, and I was texting your mom like during every commercial break, just being like, okay, this is it, freaking out. And again, the odds were kind of stacked against you just because of her track record. What do you think happened with her during that final HOH?
Really did not know the answer. Like, which I'm shocked, because I knew all of them. Like, they weren't even hard. No offense, Morgan, love you. But they weren't like hard questions. Like, genuinely, it was just things. Like, even Will's was like obvious to me, because but maybe it's because I remember everybody in the competitions, just because I didn't play in a lot of vetoes. Like, so also for everyone talking shit, until week 10, I'd only competed in 3 vetoes. Okay, 3. Like, of course, like, I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even have time to like be good at anything, because then by the end of the game, it was all physical vetoes. Like the seesaw, the like fight, like they were all physical, which, look at me. I am not a physical like player, obviously. But anyway, she just didn't know the answers. That's what she told me after. She said she just didn't know the answers, which I'm like,
oh my gosh,
very surprised about. I think she spent too much time studying days.
Oh, okay.
But I knew the days weren't going to be on it, because we had a days challenge thing already. Like, I think our last veto was a day and like name. So I knew it wasn't going to be that. So I was like, I'm studying days just because she's studying days, but like, I'm not going to stay up all night. You know what I'm saying? Like, I made sure to get good sleep. I don't know if she said she just didn't know the answers.
That's crazy. Okay, so
she's never a mental comp person, though. if you notice. Like, it
Yeah.
was mostly the physical or like the puzzles. She was
Yes.
really, really good at puzzles, and she was really, really good at physical. But all the mental HOHs, like, she never, you know what I'm saying? Like, that actually wasn't her cup of tea. Um,
Okay.
because
But I almost feel like if you watch any season of Big Brother, then you just know what those final HOH competitions are going to be. So, because it's the same thing every year. It's always like they give you three statements and then you have to choose.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what her, and Vinny, even Vinny, granted, he might have been lying.
Mm.
But because he's a super fan, and I was like, Vinny, I need your help. I was like, I'm gonna take you. Help me. Like, what do you think the final HOH is gonna be? And he's like, I genuinely don't know. Like, I don't know if that's a lie. Can you tell me or not? I don't know if we talked about it on the live feed.
Uh, I tapped out when it came to Vinny, so I have
Okay, okay,
no.
okay. Yeah, but he told me he couldn't remember, and I didn't know because I didn't finish last season. Because obviously, as we know, I was studying for the bar. So I didn't even watch
Which
that.
he passed.
Yeah. But I didn't even watch that season live. I watched it before, like, this year, like, to try to get a grip on, like, the game and stuff. But I couldn't remember what the final HOHs were. I just remembered the what the bleep, but I couldn't remember if that was a HOH in general or a final. So I had no idea what to study for. So I was like, I'm gonna just study my speech instead.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, can we, I guess the last thing that we talk about is can you walk us through the preparation process for, because I didn't get to final three, so I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
Stop.
but what was your preparation process like when it came to like anticipating the jury's questions, how you would answer them, and also how you would have changed your speech had you been sitting next to Morgan versus Vinny?
Yes, that's a very good question, Miss Hannah. So I would say, so next to Morgan, my strongest points to me were going to rely on like social game and also like poking holes in her social game because I knew she was going to get up there and say she played a really strong social game, really strategic. But my holes that I was going to poke on were going to be focused on like that first like 9 weeks of the game, where she essentially focused her game around Vinny. And I was going to counter that by saying I was also in a duo for those 9 weeks. I never focused my game around Rachel. Like, I had this person, and this person on the outside, kind of highlighting that. I also was going to highlight how she wouldn't, this kind of devious, but I was like, listen, this is 750, so I'm going to just go for it. Like, I was definitely going to point out how she wouldn't even be here if it wasn't because of me, because, like, Will and myself, especially Will loved Riley because Riley would have never put Will up. Like, Will and Morgan just didn't have that relationship. It was me relaying the information that Morgan gave me about Mickey that turned Will against Mickey. Because Will was team Mickey ride or die, honestly. Like, he loved him some Mickey. Like, they were very, very close. And I was able to tell Morgan's information, which was that Mickey had told Morgan that Will was talking about personal stories or whatever. I ran to Will to tell him that, like, because I wanted Morgan to stay at that point just because it was stronger. 2 is better than 1. I didn't trust Mickey that much at this point, and we needed numbers and fast because things weren't looking very good. This was the week of Rachel's HOH. Things were not looking good. Rachel made the wrong move. It was just a disaster. So I would have poked holes by showing those examples. I also was going to just show how, yes, she's a comp piece now, and that's why. And she may say, because of that, she deserves to win this game, and that's how she made it this far. That's false, right? Like, for 54 days, she didn't win a single competition, but she was still a target. And that was because of her social game. And I was going to just go and say, like, Big Brother is a social game, right? The goal is to not only be safe on your enemies, or not only your allies, but your enemies. And, like, I still would have used the line, like, I was able to turn enemies into allies. I still was going to use that because that was something I did in the game. But I was going to emphasize how she was never able to do that, genuinely. She was never able to do that. Keanu, like, she was a target far before she won a competition, and that was because of her social game. Keanu was targeting her, Jimmy was targeting her, Rachel was targeting her. I was not a target, for those. I didn't go on the block as an original nominee for 9 weeks. Like, I still would have said that, but I kind of would have just poked holes in her argument and how people may think I don't deserve to win because I'm not a competition piece and I didn't have the social game that I had. But the reality is I wasn't a target, not because I wasn't good at competitions. I wasn't a target because of the relationships that I built. Not only me persuading people not to put me up, but also having an army around me, persuading not to put me up. And that's a social game versus Morgan wasn't able to have that for the entire first half of the game. So those are going to be my arguments against Morgan. And that's how it would have been different compared to Vinny.
We just heard your final 2 speech
Yeah.
version, the remix, if you will.
Remix.
Um,
Thanks.
Okay, so Ashley, thank you so much for sitting down with me. It's so surreal to interview you about Big Brother. Like, what? You just won.
So weird. It hasn't hit me that I won though. Like I genuinely feel so like nothing. Like
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I went to Sephora today and I was walking out and someone said hi Ashley, and it's my instinct to not turn because like that's how I was before. Usually, you know what I'm saying? Like it could be Ashley next to you or whatever, and then I turn and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I loved you on Big Brother." Like, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like, just kept walking because that's what you do in New York. Like when people try to talk to you and you don't know them, you just keep walking. But it's I have to remember like, oh, now things are like different. Like people watch the show or like at the airport. Oh my gosh, my parents were like, "What the heck is going on?" Because it was like 5 people came up to me to take a picture, and my mom was just like, Ashley, are you famous now? Like, what the heck? Like, and I'm like, no, literally not even close. But it's just so weird when even 5, obviously, it's not that many people, but just being a
Mhm.
normie, like
Yeah.
5 people asking for a photo is just weird.
I
It's
mean, hey, Big Brother is watched by a lot of people, even though it's like its
I realize that.
own little community, and I feel like it's
Yeah.
not talked about as publicly as a show like Love Island or The
No,
Bachelor,
absolutely. I can't even imagine that.
but like it still has millions of viewers, and so that is going to be an adjustment, but hopefully a very cool adjustment.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just the fact that like you won Big Brother.
It's
I
really weird.
When I tell you, I don't think I don't think you could have made me prouder during the season. Like you genuinely play. I'm not just saying this because I'm your friend. I'm saying this as someone who has played the game and who has a genuine love for this game. You played this game so seamlessly with intentionality is the word that I'm giving you because a lot of people don't understand the moves that they make and why they have to make them, but you just embodied that to the nth degree. So it makes me so proud to be an alum, but also to be your friend because obviously our relationship goes deeper than the show and this connection. Like I feel like this adds another layer to our friendship because we've experienced something very unique.
I know. Very unique. Being locked in a house and with no phone is definitely a niche.
Oh, for sure. It's the transition coming out of it is going to be weird. It's going to be awkward at times, but I just hope you know that you have myself, you have my sister, you have my family, you have Rachel, you have a whole village behind you. So please lean on us whenever. And what's next for you, Miss Ashley Diane?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. LA, I think I am. Sorry, Big D. I think I am gonna move to LA. I mean, that was my idea before Big Brother. Genuinely, Hannah knows. Like, I was looking at jobs because I was thinking LA or DC. Obviously, now I'm not thinking DC just because of
Oh,
opportunities makes
yes.
more sense. It just makes more sense now.
Yeah.
I feel like now if I'm gonna leave New York, I need to move to a city that also has like similar opportunities, just in general. I don't necessarily think I'll be like gung ho 100% entertainment forever, but LA already was like in my top 3. So now it just makes the most sense. I mean, genuinely, I wouldn't probably pick up a move if my lease wasn't up in 3 weeks, but my lease is literally up in 3 weeks. And it's like $300 more a month if I just want to go month to month, which is not worth it. And let's be real, New York is about to be in the winter. So I'm moving to LA. I'm looking at a couple agencies. I'm probably going to try to do something with like the acting, like social media thing, I guess, which I'm like, I really have to get the hang of this because it's
Yeah.
very, I'm social media challenged, obviously. I've never been a content creator person. So
That's okay.
I know how to do a lot of things. I just don't. But I also feel like I need to take advantage of the opportunities ahead of me.
Yeah.
So definitely been talking to some like management type of things in that realm. So we'll try to do something with that.
Yeah.
But also just like my actual passions, like acting, singing, things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Ashley is a very talented singer. She did the musical every year back in middle school. I feel like you did the musical in high school too,
Yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah.
but I didn't go to high school with you. So
She was a smarty pants. She went to a very prestigious high school.
you're the wink. You're also a smarty pants. Let's be
She
so for real.
did go to a prestigious high school.
Okay, but whatever.
Genius.
No, no. Actually, no, you're making me a threat when it comes to BB
Oh
second.
no! Oh no! If they do BB All Stars, okay, no, Hannah is not intelligent.
No, I'm actually the wink. Okay. So anyway, Ashley is a super, super talented singer and actress, and I'm so excited for all the opportunities that are going to continue to come your way. I'll be manifesting for you, and you always have law to fall back on. Like no one can ever take your degree
Exactly.
away from you.
Exactly. Like forever, I'll have it. Eventually, I'll go back. Like, of course, I'll have to,
Hmm.
just for the income,
Yeah.
purposes. But I also have passions of doing like TV hosting stuff. Like I initially wanted to go into broadcast journalism in college and then decided not to. So if those opportunities can come and I can make a career out of that, even I would totally do that as well. So we'll see.
Wait, you should. I'm sure you have already talked to Taylor about this, but you should definitely chat with her about this
I know
because
I need to chat with her. I need to chat with Rachel. It's just been a hectic few days like traveling and then I went to Nashville like to do that podcast, but then my flight was delayed. So it was
oh
like a
no.
whole day of like
Okay, you should also get in contact with Xavier. If you don't have his number, I can send it to you just because he's an attorney just like you and he has his own firm called
oh that's
Lawyer
awesome.
Lake where he represents like reality
Yes,
personalities and
Rachel
people in
said
entertainment.
that's her lawyer. Yeah.
Yes. So I would definitely talk to him just because he has an understanding of entertainment law and he's also been on the other side of things. And I think, well, he was rooting for you independently, the whole cookout was, but I think because people like they know that you and I are close, they almost looked at you as like this little sister, like we just want Ashley to keep going in this game, like we want to protect her. So I think he would absolutely be open to having a conversation with you and just making sure that like no matter what you do, you're good. I
Yeah.
think he would be a good resource.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Like I'll take all the advice I can
Yes.
get.
Okay, so the last thing is an all winter season happens. Would you go back?
Oh my gosh, I actually would. I've
You
gotten
would.
this question every interview, so I'm like, is this like a thing or something? I don't know. But I would. I actually would. I would go back. I wouldn't go back on a regular season ever. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't go back on a regular season. I would hope that if they do a winners or all stars, it's not the full 90 days. Um, but I would go back. I would go back. Even more preferable if it's 2 months or less.
Yes. I think a lot of people are probably in the same boat as you, just because like who has that kind of time to take off?
Yeah, like that's yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, and hopefully CBS guys can give me a better edit.
that's listen, this is their second chance. It's not a second chance this season. This is their second chance to
Yeah,
give you the credit that you deserve.
yeah.
My very, very last question. Would you ever want to play with me?
Oh my gosh, I would. I literally was just, you read my mind. I
Yeah.
literally was just thinking that in my head, but then I
Yeah.
was like, wait, are people going to target us if we do get to play together? I literally,
I mean, yes, but also I think strangely enough, I think we'd be fine.
okay, no, Hannah, I literally like
Yeah.
girl, that was immediately what I thought after you said
Yeah.
that season. I was like, oh my gosh, what if me and Hannah got to play like on a season?
The
I
way
would love to play with Hannah. Like, can you guys just change it to All Stars instead? Granted,
I
I don't know if I qualify to be on All
what
Stars. Yeah,
Ashley,
but
you so no, stop. Whatever they do, as long as it's not all winners, because then I can't take Xavier's spot. But if they make it like an all stars or whatever,
that would be
Ashley and I in a house together, that would be so fun.
like my dream because me
Yeah.
and Hannah only lived in the same state for like a year before I graduated.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And then you moved to New York.
And then I moved to New York.
Oh
So
my God.
Hannah went to LMU after I was already there. We would
Yeah,
have been together for 1 year, but then the pandemic happened. So the
exactly.
three of us lived there. Yeah.
Also, isn't it so strange how our lives have just paralleled
Our
one
lives
another?
are paralleled. Wait, guys, wait, should we talk about that really quick?
Yeah, why not? They're not going to get this exclusive anywhere else.
Hannah's lives have paralleled like forever. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, how far back does this stem? I mean, we could just talk about the last 5 years, I guess, but
Well, okay, I initially thought that you and I we started in preschool together,
yes.
but we actually did not. We started going to Gymboree together when you were 2 and I was 1.
Is that the ballet place?
No, that's like the little gymnastics place
The
next to
gymnastics.
you know what I'm talking
I know
about.
what you're talking
You
about.
know the street.
Yes.
But yeah, so we've known each other for almost 25 years.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
That's crazy.
And then we went to daycare together, we went to preschool together, we went to elementary school together. Then I ended up joining your second grade class. And so we did second grade together. I feel like we were in the same third grade class, but then we weren't in the same fourth grade or fifth grade
Yeah,
class.
we weren't in the same fourth or fifth.
Then middle school happened, and then I moved away. So you and I kind of drifted apart,
Yes.
but you got really close to my cousin,
Yes.
Jamie. Shout out
Yes.
to Jamie.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Who,
Wait,
by the way, guys, is still my best friend. One of my best friends still today, which is
yes. And also, I was just thinking, like, imagine Jamie's on Big Brother.
no, that would be. I think she has to complete the trifecta, right?
I'm like, oh, this entire time I've been advocating against sending my people on the show, but now I'm almost like, should we just get Jamie in the house?
I know. Oh my gosh, that would be iconic.
It would make great TV.
Do we talk production? Like,
And if you see my cousin on Big Brother season 29 or 28, no, you don't. Don't vote for her, guys.
the problem is she acts just like Jamie is. My parents always call Jamie my twin, and it's not because of the way we look.
No.
Exact same personality. So I
Okay.
almost feel like if she goes in, they're gonna be like, "You remind us of Ashley and Hannah." Like, and yeah,
No, I think you two are just very, like, you take bluntness to a whole nother level.
fair. Okay, fair.
A
No,
whole
people are
nother
gonna
level.
say Jamie's my twin, personality-wise. We even have the
Yes.
exact same sense of humor.
Oh, yes.
It's a problem.
You guys are like the terrible twosome. You guys, I think you met at like my 6th birthday party or something like that, and then you
Yes.
guys were just like inseparable from there.
Yes.
Okay, so then you go to LMU for college, and then I end up going there after you for grad school. We don't overlap because of the pandemic. And then you end up going to Georgetown for law school, and then
Did you see that?
wait, what happened?
I held up my phone and I took a photo of us. I was
Oh, me in the middle of talking. Okay, so then you go to Georgetown for law school.
yes.
I end up coming here for med school, and you and I got lunch together when I was sort of like still deciding where I was going to go. And then remember, I also talked to you about the challenge, and I was like,
Yes.
what do I do?
Yes. And I
And
asked my professor
you
even. I
did.
asked my professor.
No, I was really looking to you for advice because I was like, I don't want this to like jeopardize my reputation before I even have the chance to start it. And you were so helpful and supportive in that moment. And then I just decided not to do the challenge.
I'm glad you didn't. Amazing Race is so much more your speed. It's so much more of like a family fun.
Yes.
Like I'm telling you, I've never watched the show, but I've seen clips. Like I was on the show being like, I would totally do Amazing Race and the Traitors. Like never seen Amazing Race ever. But
We have to get you on the Traders. We really do. We have to.
love it. I would love it. What if we were both in
Wait, Ashley, we can't let anyone know, or we can't let anyone know that we know each other.
Oh, true. Well, this interview screwed it up.
Okay, I just want to play with you because I have such a love for the game. You're so good at it.
You're Hannah. You're the queen of it. You're the queen of it. You originated
I-
this.
I will take being the princess.
You're the original, and I'm the remix.
No, but the remix is so much better. It's often so much better. You know.
I will just say though, I had very high expectations for Cass because of Hannah, and so the first week I wanted to actually go home because I was like, I cannot live with these people. I was like, I did not sign up to be with these people. Where is my Hannah Chata cast? Where is even the last season they had Cam, Cedric, Chelsea, McCann, like everybody just seemed so dope.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got my season and I was like, so I like 5 people. Like
Yeah. You were like, so where? These are the stunt doubles. Where's the real cast? No, the way that I was thinking that too, I was like, how are these people even? How did Homegirl get on the show? How did Homeboy get on the show? You and I are probably thinking about the same people.
Yes,
I was
we
very,
are.
I was
Bro, we
very
have-
confusion,
Bro,
very
yes.
confusion.
Yes.
But yes, okay, so yeah, that's kind of how our lives have paralleled, and I hope you could feel the support in those 4 walls because I like after a certain point, I was just loud and proud about my support for you. I really, really wrote hard for you.
Aw,
Hard,
Hannah.
hard, hard. You made me so proud. To the point where when you won, it did bring me to tears. I was like, I can imagine this is probably the closest that one could feel to winning without winning themselves. It was such a proud moment for me.
Oh,
Seriously.
I love you. I was so sad I didn't get to see you. I remember coming, where's Hannah?
I
I
know.
was on a flight. I was like,
I know. I know. But I got
I
to
got
talk
to
to
see
you.
Simone, so
Yes,
yeah,
and
I
you
got
got
to
to see
see Simone.
Simone. And did you see Simone's shirt?
Yes,
Was that not epic?
it was epic as heck. I had to do a double take. I was like, wait, oh my gosh, like I can't believe it. And I remember being like, how did she get the shirt? But then I got tagged in a bunch of videos of
Mhm.
people at watch parties,
Yes.
and they were in the shirt. I was like, what the heck? I
And
thought it was an original, like Simone made it or something.
and everyone was chanting your name and everyone was so excited. And I'm so happy that Simone could be there to welcome you out of the house along with your
So
family.
happy. I'm so happy. I can't wait to see you. Oh my gosh. We
I
have to
know.
wait. I might call you for 10 minutes after this.
Please do. Please
Okay.
do.
Okay.
I'm free. I'm free. But thank you so much, Ashley, for coming on the royalty. You guys, this is our winner of Big Brother 27. This is my oldest friend in life. I can't believe I'm interviewing her about Big Brother. This is the craziest thing in the world, but I also love it. Again, I think this adds just another layer to our friendship, another bond that we now share that no one else in our lives will be able to relate to.
No. Nope.
So, and wait, people from home were also like from Mattia, from Granger, were also like messaging me all season, being like,
Stop.
"Wait, how are two people from the same neighborhood? How did you guys just end up on
I
the
can't
same
end the
team?"
show.
But they were rooting for you, like Caputo, Amanda was rooting for you.
Oh, that
Yeah,
is so cute.
yes, like Meredith, Abby Severson, Lauren Stro. Why am I saying these people's government names? I'm
I know,
sorry.
right? She's like giving their last name.
Like, so their social security number is. But no, you had the support of Naperville, Illinois.
That is so sweet. I love that. I love that. And oh my gosh, no, yeah, me and actually never mind. Hold on. I'll tell you after.
Okay, 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 okay. I think I know what you're about to say. But okay, so Operation Get My Cousin on Big Brother season
I
4.
know, we gotta get
You
Jamie.
loved Ashley. You loved me. I can
So
promise you, you
pumped.
will love Jamie.
Yes.
Okay, bye, Ashley.
Bye. Thanks for
Please like,
having
comment,
me.
subscribe.
Yes, comment, subscribe, whatever you